Picture this. You open your eyes. Not to the sound of an alarm. Not to a phone buzzing. Not even to sunlight through glass, because there is no glass. There are no walls. No roof. No city. No roads. No countries. No money. No concept of Monday morning. Outside, the world stretches endlessly. Dense forest. Open grassland. Rivers catching the first light. And somewhere beyond the tree line, something large is already moving. This isn't 100 years ago. Or 1,000. It's 50,000 years ago. And the person waking up isn't some hunched, blank-eyed creature. They have your skeleton. Your brain. Your capacity for language, memory, fear, and longing. If they were born today, they would scroll through their phone just like you do. Which raises a genuinely strange question. If they were already us, biologically, neurologically, completely, what was an ordinary Tuesday actually like? There was no breakfast waiting. No kitchen. No fridge. No grocery run from the night before. Food wasn't stored. It was found. That morning, it might be berries. Wild roots. Shellfish from a nearby stream. Leftover meat from a kill 2 days ago. And here's the part that surprises most people. This didn't take all day. Multiple studies of surviving hunter-gatherer communities, groups whose way of life offers the closest window we have into the deep past, suggest that people typically spent 3 to 5 hours a day securing food. Not 10. Not 12. 3 to 5. Which means for much of the morning, people weren't scrambling. They were doing what humans do when they have time. Talking. Repairing tools. Watching children play. Sitting in the sun. Because this is what we tend to flatten out of the picture. These weren't task completion machines running survival protocols. They were people. Someone in that group was funny. Someone was annoying. Someone was quietly brilliant with their hands. Someone had been carrying a loss for weeks. The same emotional architecture that makes you anxious before a difficult conversation, or lights up when someone you love walks into a room, that was all already there. Their brains ran on the same wiring. Somewhere, 50,000 years ago, someone stayed up worrying about a person who didn't seem to care about them. Someone told a story that made everyone laugh harder than expected. Someone watched a child take their first steps and felt something that had no words yet. They weren't waiting to become human. They already were. As the light faded, everything changed. Humans don't see well in the dark. Most of our predators do. But humans had something that no other animal had learned to control. Fire. And that small circle of light did something extraordinary to the social world. It extended the day. Before fire, nightfall meant sleep. Darkness was a hard limit on everything: movement, work, conversation. After fire, something new became possible: the evening. People gathered. Food was cooked. Voices carried. Some anthropologists argue this is when storytelling, real storytelling, not just warnings or instructions, began to take root. Because fire changes who you can talk to. In daylight, groups scatter. People work, forage, move. Around a fire at night, everyone is in the same small space, for hours, with nothing else competing for their attention. That's when stories could travel. Imagine it, someone describing a river 3 days' walk away, using their hands to show how it bends. A child storing that detail without knowing why. 10 years later, that detail saves their life. Long before writing. Long before recording. Memory was the only storage. Stories were the only transmission. What happened around those fires wasn't just entertainment. It was how knowledge survived death. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. If these people were this intelligent, if they had curiosity, language, imagination, creativity, why did they live this way for tens of thousands of years? Why no cities? No writing? No agriculture? Not because they couldn't imagine them. The answer is simpler and stranger than that. They didn't need them. Hunter-gatherer life, in a world of abundant resources, worked. It fed people. It gave them time. It built deep social bonds. It required genuine skill and knowledge that took years to master. There was no obvious reason to trade that for something unknown. The shift, when it came, wasn't chosen. It happened slowly, almost by accident, at the edges of things. Around 12,000 years ago, something started to change. Nobody decided to invent civilization. What happened was smaller. People in certain regions noticed that some plants grew back where seeds had fallen. That certain animals, if you didn't kill them immediately, could be kept. Experiments began. Some failed. Some didn't. And slowly, over centuries, not years, something irreversible happened. Permanent settlement. Stored food. Population growth. Division of labor. Once a village can store grain, it needs someone to count it. Someone to guard it. Someone to decide how it's distributed. Writing emerged, not to tell stories, but to track inventory. Money emerged, not as an idea, but as a solution to a coordination problem. Governments, armies, taxes, temples, these aren't inventions that someone sat down and designed. They're what happens downstream when a population can't fit in a single clearing anymore. Compress the entire span of human existence into a single day, and civilization doesn't appear until the last 4 minutes before midnight. Everything before that, the fires, the stories, the slow mornings, the grief, the laughter, was the rest of the day. So when you picture someone 50,000 years ago, don't picture a stranger. Picture someone sitting in low light, watching a fire burn down. Thinking about someone they miss. Listening to a story that's making the children go quiet. They didn't have what we have. But they had what we still are. And sometimes it's worth asking, sitting here with everything we've built, all the noise and speed of it, whether the things that made them human were so different from the things that make us feel most like ourselves. The answer, if you sit with it long enough, is probably not. They're not a chapter before our story. They are where our story begins.